Today on 5 Minutes With, we have Nelson Santos, Mayor of Kingsville and editor of the Kingsville Reporter. Before you were a mayor, you were a journalist and reporter. What made you want to become a journalist?
Yeah. Well, you know, my feeling is when you're a journalist, you're always asking questions, and for me, living in a small town, the opportunity to become a reporter was the best way to get to know the community itself. So asking questions, learning something new every day, that's something that's really intriguing about the journalism.
And what made you want to decide to run for mayor?
For me, it was, again, that opportunity to give back to the community, having seen, obviously, the strengths that the community has, and also some of the areas where I think there could have been improvement. I think that really raised the level of myself wanting to contribute back to Kingsville.
Okay. And growing up, did you have anybody who inspired you to either help the community or work in politics?
Yeah, actually, it's an interesting story because it was grade 8. I remember that project that I was doing, and I was doing an interview, and of course, so there's my journalism skills. And then I was interviewing the mayor of the town at that time, and I was just really excited to hear about what are some of the projects they were looking at. From there, I just felt like, wow, that's a great great program, a great job, and it'd be something that I'd like to do someday. And that's just where the inspiration first came from, and that was Mayor John Gaffin.
Okay. And before you got into mayor and journalism, was there something that you said to yourself that you would do differently than other mayors before you?
Right. Well, for myself, it was more being open and accessible. You know, a lot of times when you look at people with titles, you almost have that intimidation factor. But for me, I've always been very approachable, and I certainly want to ensure and reassure people that doors are wide open. My skills have always been, let's bring people to the table so we can talk about how we can improve the community better together.
So what kind of things would you say you've done for Kingsville since you've become mayor?
Right from 2003, we went right into some significant programs. We looked at some of the history the town had, and we knew heritage was an important piece. So we've implemented a heritage designation program where we're offering tax rebates on your property taxes of up to 40% if you designate a home that's deemed of heritage value. That's one of the significant ones we've done to help try to preserve, I think, the story that Kingsville can tell. And a second one would be our sewer separation program, where we reinstated a focus program in 2003, brought that to fruition last year, and now we're a town that is completely separated from its combination sewers, and we're seeing tremendous benefits from that. So those are two big programs that I think have seen Kingsville elevate itself.
Okay. And is there anything that still needs to happen in Kingsville? Any current issues still, or? Well,
absolutely. I think as time has changed, and certainly the economies that we've seen, challenging. We're pretty diverse in our community. Kingsville is pretty fortunate to be in a position that it's in, but now we see ourselves expanding to be able to accommodate, growing families, the senior population, the retirees that we're able to attract. So we're now in the middle of putting together our first active transportation master plan in the community, tied in with our first cultural, parks and recreational master plan. Together those two will, I think, help put together a stronger vision for, I guess, the long-term and longevity of Kingsville's prosperity.
Okay. And since 2010, Kingsville spent about $25 million into the town. But without raising taxes, how is this possible?
I mean, there has been some tax increases, of course, but when we look at the investment we've been making, I think the allure and the draw to Kingsville has helped us grow. So with the growth that's come in, anywhere from 3% one year to 6%, again to another almost 3% last year, we're seeing the population growing. We're seeing, we're bucking the trend in terms of what's been happening nationally, and small town Kingsville, in Canada's most southern town, is really becoming quite an attractive place when you look at the access to waterfront, and I think obviously the access to local community services and having a sense of community really has helped boost our community spirit and has really drawn people coming into Kingsville.
And a lot of the work done, like the sewer separation, was kind of like an attempt to clean up the lake. What's the current state of the lake right now?
Well, for us, again, that's an ever-changing situation. We've done our best to do what we can as the human nature to try to clean up. But again, Mother Nature has the complete control at the end of the day. We've struggled with some of the plans in terms of sweeping from the water to, I think, evaluating the wave action. We can't get into that degree, but we certainly have contributed our part to make the lake cleaner. The sewer separation plan is one that has really eliminated and reduced significantly any potential overflow during major rain events. So nothing is going back into our creeks and then into our lakes. That is causing environmental concerns. So we're starting to cut that back now. We're going to concentrate a little bit further in partnership with Conservation Authority, in partnership with certainly our Union Water plant, to ensure that what we're doing is helping maintain clean water for our residents and our visitors.
Okay. And lately, Kingsville rebuilt a new library, and they renovated their old library, and part of it's kind of being renovated to be like a tourist information for tourists coming into Kingsville and surrounding areas. How would this help Kingsville?
For us, it's the next step. We're recognizing, as a small community, we have a number of artists, a number of performers, and that culture, I think, is starting to grow. The new Carnegie Center that's going to be upfitted for the 21st century is really going to embrace that, become part of a tourism center, an art gallery, an opportunity for even the Elder College to be part, a participant in that program. The facility itself, I think, is a brand new one for us, and will help, I think, focus on some of those special points that Kingsville offers.
And what do you see happening for Kingsville in the future?
Well, I see continued growth. We're fortunate to be in the position that we're in with the services available, whether it's water, storm, sanitary. We're in a position to be able to accommodate that. So we're going to continue to grow, and at the same time, we're going to bring in some venues from active transportation, new sidewalks, expanded sidewalks, off-road trails. That's going to be a big part of our future.
Okay. And in terms of legacy, what do you want people to remember you by?
I think more of just someone that was open to ideas, someone who had a vision for the community beyond the status quo, and something that just made Kingsville a welcoming place.
Have you ever thought about running higher in politics, like for provincial or federal or any other areas?
Yeah, absolutely. When the opportunities have come forward, I've been approached many times in the past. I did make an effort back in 2011 for the federal campaign. I think it was an opportunity to put local ideas obviously on the agenda, put a community voice to higher levels of government in terms of representing the true grassroots. It's something that I believed was a great opportunity, and it is an opportunity for for us as Canadians to be able to step up, put your name forward, and say this is what I want to do for my province, for my country. And at the end of the day, for me, it's to help elevate the communities, because our communities are what makes our province and our country very strong, and we need to develop those stronger communities and that sense of pride that I know exists in Kingsville. We were almost Hockeyville, Canada in 2008. Yeah. We finished in second place. That community spirit, that drive, I think, is what keeps me going in terms of wanting to see our residents excel, our students excel, and to be proud from where they came from. That's the end of the message today is. Be proud from where you come from, because you, at the end of the day, can be a role model and you can make a difference in our communities.
Okay. And one final question I have to ask, because some viewers will be kind of interested. Like, you're the editor of a paper and you're the mayor. How do you manage to balance working in both?
Right. Well, that's always been the question that keeps coming up. Obviously, obviously wanting to be open and accountable, and certainly not being seen as someone that's controlling the message. We've balanced that with a special reporter and a freelance writer at the newspaper level to cover all the council business. So I don't associate myself with any of those articles. The associate editor, our freelance writer, has free reign in terms of what they want to write and publish, again, without any interference from myself. The balance for me has been that because I'm still in the newspaper and still working with the community, I still get to see the other side of the community that's not political, right? Seeing the groups working to improve the community, whether it's the Optimist Club, or whether it's our Knights of Columbus, or whether it's the schools and the kids and how they're interacting and contributing back to Kingsville. That's all, I think, played in terms of what my strength is still being in touch with the community, but again, staying away from obviously the perception that I'm controlling or being one that's holding back the message from Kingsville. You look at some of our editions, it's pretty open in terms of what's happening at the council table. We're putting forward plans and programs and ideas. Some work well and some don't. We don't avoid controversy. If it's there, we're going to seek it out. We're going to find a way to make sure nothing gets lost or hidden, and that's the way you have to be in these modern days. You got to be open.
You have been watching 5 Minutes with Nelson Santos, Mayor of Kingsville and editor of the Kingsville Reporter. Thank you today for being with us.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Appreciate it.